you'll do anything to get it again. But no matter where your hunger comes from, you're gonna need it.
Watch it again. He's going that way.
This is Keyshawn, J. Willimax, presented by Progressive Insurance. Coming to you live from the Seaport District of Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. Watching those NBA, hearing Magic go, of course you're nervous. You're supposed to be. If your team is in the finals, as a fan, you're nervous.
But I feel like Golden State won't be nervous. I feel like Boston will be nervous tomorrow.
First time,
first game on the road, NBA Finals. Like, you ever been to an NBA Finals, yo? It is crazy. I mean, I don't know what it is as a player, but like as a I don't think so.
It depends. I guess it depends on what games, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're Stephanie's guys, like, you've been in so many NBA
but you're still
Finals.
nervous, though.
I'm sure there's a little bit, but it's not the
nervous.
same degree as your first time going to the finals.
are you saying the difference between being nervous and being scared? Like, is there more fear the first time?
For who?
Like, in other words, Key is saying, of course you're nervous. Everyone's nervous.
But I think
when
there
you're
are different
saying
levels of nervous. I think when you haven't experienced it before, like playing in the Final Four was different your first time. Like, yo, I've never played in front of 75,000 people.
You look up?
Because you start looking like,
what I'm asking, Jay,
you're used to that, though. You guys are playing in stadiums.
Is the nervousness based more on fear?
I don't think fear really exists.
Well, because
for
fear
athletes.
of fear of failure.
I don't go into a game thinking about failure. I don't.
I'll tell you what.
I don't go into the 2-on-2 game like, what if I lose?
I'll tell you what,
That's
and I
not
don't think
failure
it's
to me,
just
though.
because you're getting punched, but in boxing, like Mike Tyson will talk about it, Customato talked about it all the time, controlling your fear.
It depends. Like, for me, every single game I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And as it got more important, that nervous turned into something different. Then in the Super Bowl, I was scared to fail.
Right. That's what I'm asking.
I didn't want to be the guy that everybody like, this mother.
You talk about, Key, when that ball is in the air and you're wide open, right?
I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Key, did those feelings come out while the game was going on? Like, did you
at the start of the game, until it calmed down. The first 5 minutes, 6 minutes of the game, it was a lot. It was a lot going on the first 5, 6 minutes of the game. Once it calmed down, then it became a regular football game. But that first 6 minutes or so, that stuff was something different.
But see, Max, I don't think I never used the word failure. Like, I would never use that word in my vocabulary, right? It sets you up for even thinking about that. So for me, it was like, how do you channel that nervous energy into becoming one with the game? Because the sooner you can become one with the game, the more you lose yourself in the flow of the energy of the game.
But see, using the word failure to me, I can say that because I know I was never going to fail, because I was going to make sure that I did not fail. So I don't have a problem saying, well, I didn't want to fail, because I already know what I had to put into it so that I made sure that I wasn't the guy at the end of the day that they were like, he failed us. No, I wasn't going to be that guy.
I mean, there are guys.
I was going to work my ass off to make sure in that particular game, whether it was a regular season, postseason, that I wasn't going to be.
Jay, I hear that a lot from great athletes and championship athletes, that the fear of failure is like they hate that feeling so much that it even outstrips the joy of winning.
But he's talking about one game. I'm talking about it's a best of 7 series. So basketball is slightly different. I can understand if it was one game, it's kind of like the national championship game. Like, oh, we either do it or you don't. But in the 7-game series for the Celtics, like that first game, like the type of media that you do leading up to an NBA Finals, dude, it's stupid. It's going 24/7. You cannot escape it. Yeah. It's a different level. And then when you get there, you talk about the national and all that, right? It's just a different feeling.
I once asked Don Mattingly when he was skipper of the Dodgers, because he never played in the playoffs till his last year as a player. He had a bad back. He was about to retire. But he tore the cover off the ball in the playoffs. And I asked him, like, why are some guys able to get better as the competition gets, as the stakes get higher? He's like, well, you just stay the same. I'm like, no. But you didn't stay the same. You elevated. He said, no, you stay the same, but you know that not everyone's going to stay the same, and you take advantage of that. That's how he said he was able to elevate. Here, I gave the top 5 most important players in the NBA Finals on This Just In yesterday, 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. This was the list. I thought Key would do the honors for me.
Speed
I
it
thought
up.
Key would finish.
No,
it
I
for
was
me.
going to let you go ahead and do
No,
it.
handsome host. All right, listen. No, I'm going to go 1 to 5 because the top 2 players are so obvious, right? Here are the most important players in the finals. Number 1, Steph Curry.
Number 1.
Steph Curry is the most important guy in these finals. He ought to be the best player in the series, and I would love to see him. You think because I raised the question or say here are the stakes that I'm rooting against him? I am not. I hope he comes through. I hope he wins finals MVP. I hope he gets that feather in his cap. He's the most important player in the game, in the series.
Number 2.
A little bit. Jason Tatum is the second most important player in this series. He has evolved into a great two-way player. He takes on the toughest defensive assignment, and he does it more than adequately. Like, he has been very effective defensively and offensively. We all know what it is. Could you imagine if this dude winds up a champion already in his NBA career?
Number 3.
And now we get to the wild cards, right? Like, who's the third most important player in this whole series? So many guys to choose from. Wiggins and Poole and Time Lord and this one and that one. I'm taking Marcus Smart. If Marcus Smart can be himself defensively, the Celtics can win this. And if he can't, I don't know if they can. I think he's the third, and besides the emotional leader and all those things, that's true of Marcus Smart, but especially his defense, especially against this Golden State team, going to be key.
Number 4.
Draymond Green. Draymond Green, for the same reasons a lot of people would point out Marcus Smart in terms of the energy and the emotional leadership and everything for the Warriors. People forget, in 16, he was about to be Finals MVP. Had LeBron and them not won it, he'd have done it. He was great in Game 6, great in Game 7. He's a big-time money player, and people always point to Steph as reinventing the game. Along with Dre, he's the pick-and-roll partner. I think Dre is and given the defense to do everything, he gives him the ability to play 5 out. I think he's the 4th most important player in the series.
Number 5.
This was very tough because I thought there were 6 or 7 good candidates, but I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown, who's a two-way player, especially on the defensive end. But, like, he's the guy, if you're looking for 20-plus points from someone other than Jason Tatum, I'm going to look to Brown. And because he is an excellent defensive player, I give him the 5th slot, although, again, there are like 5 different guys at least I think who could have been there. Those are my top 5.
All right, so go through them really quickly.
1 Steph, 2 Tatum, most important players in the series, 3 Marcus Smart, 4 Draymond, and 5 Jaylen Brown.
So I would be the person to tell you that I think Marcus Smart is the most important person in the playoffs.
Wow.
Number 1, because Marcus Smart is going to have the primary defensive rotation of guarding Stephen Curry, staying attached to his hip. And also for Boston, even though Jason Tatum has turned the ball over a ton during these playoffs. And when he's loose with the ball, they're not the best. So you need the ball in the hands of Marcus Smart, who initiates their offense, who also sets the tone for them defensively. I think he's one of the biggest key cogs in order for them to have a chance to win it all.
That's a bold prediction,
No, I would probably – I'll agree with Jay. I'll back you up on that one, Jay. I think because of what we've seen Stephen Curry go through in the past when they played against Cleveland and Kevin Durant was on the team, and they, as Ty Lue said, they wind up trying to take him out using the blitz, using 2 guys on him. Well, you don't have that. You don't have to worry about that as much anymore. Now you could just single him up with Marcus Smart, but at the same time, both ends of the floor Smart has to play on. He has to get the offense going, but he also has to chase Steph all around the court. So that energy level for him has to continue to stay high at all times. And when they talk about condition during the season, him coming off an injury over the last couple games, that is going to be majorly important.
Yeah, you may have convinced that's a persuasive argument because he's also got to play that unselfish point guard on the other end.
And can't think shoot first, think pass first, shoot when it's appropriate. And by the way, the last time these 2 teams played, I told y'all, Steph is petty, man. He's one of the most competitive dudes. That's where Marcus Smart dove into his ankle, and it had Stephen Curry out for a while. So trust and believe, Steph remembers that.
So he's playing a fully motivated Steph.
That's what I'm trying to say, man.
You can't double him all the time because you have Jordan Poole, you have Wiggins, you have Clay who can get hot.
He's a momentum scorer. You got to slow him down because it sets the momentum for this team.
Smart's got to play a real point guard on the other. You may have convinced me that he is actually the most important player in the series, and he's banged up.
See, Curry, the reason Curry wouldn't be 1 for me is because they got so many other pieces that they can rely on. If you take Curry out, you still got to account for, like you mentioned, Wiggins, Poole,
but he's
Draymond
the engine,
to a
though.
degree. I understand that. He's going to get his shots. But even if he's limited, Clay can get hot just like he did the other
Hotter
night.
than anyone.
Yeah,
Jordan
now
can
all of
do
a
it off the
sudden
bounce.
you
Yeah.
look up and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Wiggins and Poole
And Poole.
can get their own. Keyshawn J. Willimax is brought to you by Capital One with no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees. Banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC. Speaking of bold predictions, one bold prediction from an NFL insider about a second-year quarterback